One weekend of the regular season to go in the Australian Ice Hockey League as we build up towards the finals. 4 teams make the finals weekend, which will be at the Medibank Ice House in Melbourne. The team sitting just outside that is the Gold Coast Blue Tongues. They can leapfrog Adelaide if they win both their games on the weekend coming up. Joining us now from the Gold Coast side, Matt Amado. Matt, hello there.
Hey there, how's it going?
Really, really well. Tell us about the weekend for you guys.
Yeah, we've got obviously a huge weekend in Newcastle. We haven't been there yet this year, and we win both games. Most likely we'll make the finals. It'll be the first time I think in the last 3 or 4 years that the team has been able to do that. So everyone's pretty excited, ready to go, and hopefully we can get out there with a couple wins in advance.
You managed to pick up some wins recently. You beat the Mustangs in Melbourne, but you've had sort of the weekend just gone off. A chance for some of the players to get over some injuries?
Yeah, for sure. We had a couple days off where we didn't do anything. Let the guys heal up a little bit, myself included. And I think guys are it's only a week off, but guys already get itchy and want to keep playing. So hopefully the enthusiasm will help us out down there.
You mentioned yourself with an injury doubt. Can you step us through that?
Just like not a major thing, but a little minor knee problem, and going to give it a whirl at training this week and see how it goes, and hopefully I'll be able to be in there this weekend. I mean, I'm going to have to get a small operation at the end of the year, but hopefully I can put that off and fight through the weekend there and help the team out.
Tell us a little bit about, I guess, knees are important in general in sport as they are in life, but when you're twisting and turning and things like that in hockey, how much sort of pressure are you putting on them?
Yeah, I would say that hockey is probably one of the major sports where you are putting a lot of pressure on your knees. Obviously it's a huge lower body sport where your leg muscles and your knees and your pardon my French, your butt there, but it's all important. So all that stuff is where you get your power and explosiveness from. And so yeah, it is important, but hopefully it can strap it up a bit and it'll take care of some of the pressure.
Tell us a little bit about how you joined the Gold Coast side, Matt.
Second stint here in Australia for our summer and your guys' winter. I played for the Brisbane team 4 years ago, the year before they moved to the coast, and it's just a kind of an escape from Canada and kind of the rigors of what we do, for the other 8 months of the year back home when we play our seasons. It's a change of pace a little bit. I live on the beach, so it's a little bit nicer to just be able to kick back and relax. Work a little bit in my spare time, but I love the country. I love the area where we live, and it's just it's a good time. Work on the tan a little bit, do some surfing and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a really cool experience to be able to in the off season come over here and still play hockey at a pretty high level, but also have some fun.
Tell us about what first sort of attracted you to be playing in the Australian League when you joined Brisbane.
Well, it was just one of my uni buddies from Canada that I played with. He originally came down and played for Newcastle. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. And, I was just looking for something to do that summer, so I got in touch with him, asked him how it was, and he kind of just referred me to, 3 or 4 of the teams that were a little bit better organized and well-run. And I just kind of, looked at the map and said, you know what, the beach looks like a pretty good spot, and it's not a huge city. I just, looked at the website, checked out some pictures, and, couldn't be happier.
Terrific. Tell us a little bit about where you're from in Canada. You're from British Columbia?
Yeah. I'm just I was born and raised just outside of Vancouver, so it's obviously not too tough of a place to be from. It's very beautiful. Just hosted the Olympics, so it got kind of the rest of the world to kind of have a peek at what that city's all about. And it's a huge sporting town, similar to I'd say something like Melbourne here in Australia, where tons of sports going on, a lot of outdoor kind of things, and obviously really passionate about our hockey over there. The Canucks team in the NHL just lost to Boston this past NHL season, so it was a little heartbreaking, but not the end of the world.
So that is your team in the NHL?
Yeah. Those are my boys, the Canucks. I had a couple of guys that I played with that I'm pretty good friends with that played on that team as well, so it's kind of cool to be able to watch and somewhat live it with them, but obviously not the same because I'm not playing.
Tell us who's that so we can follow them in the next few coming seasons.
Yeah, Victor Vesker. It's just one of my good buddies I played university with, and then I played with and against a bunch of other guys. It kind of goes with the territory when you play at a decent, high level. You make a lot of friends, and then some of them, continue on to bigger and better things, and some guys, kind of travel around and play in Europe like I did, and then, end up, quitting, real professional hockey a little bit shorter. But, yeah.
We're chatting with Matt Amado from the Gold Coast Blue Tongues in the Australian Ice Hockey League. It's the final round of the regular season coming up. They are playing Newcastle. Matt, I guess you're in a pretty good position to assess the development of the league, having played with Brisbane and now the Gold Coast. How do you view it now, sort of 4 or 5 years from when you first came?
Yeah, I think things are a little bit, a little bit better organized as far as some of the scheduling and the teams. We've added, a couple teams, and there's a couple teams that obviously had to fold. So I think the viability of some of the areas is a little bit better. Obviously, like the new rink in Melbourne there has added a lot of, possibilities for other cities and other towns to, kind of copycat them. And hopefully, one of the things we do lack here on the Gold Coast is just a a nicer facility. So hopefully, with some funding from whether it be the government or private guys to build, a nice rink out here would be fantastic. And I know, a lot of people would want to play here. That's probably one of the few drawbacks of the league is just the facilities that don't really exist. Obviously, ice hockey and skating isn't a huge deal here. But if, the league were to progress, obviously that's kind of one of the things that probably need to get addressed, before it could really take off. But I think it has gotten a little bit better as far as the quality of the imports and just the Australian guys, some of whom have had a chance to, go overseas and play for a bit. So yeah, it's brought the level up a little bit.
Melbourne Ice, Newcastle, North Stars, Sydney Ice Dogs and Adelaide Adrenaline occupying the top 4 spots at the moment. Matt, of those sides, who has been the most difficult for you this year?
Can you say that again?
Of those sides in the top 4, who has been the most difficult for you this year?
I'd probably say the Melbourne Ice team. They're a pretty well-rounded team. They don't have a ton of, superstar guys, but they have 3 or 4 groups of guys that can all consistently play pretty well. So it is tough when some of the teams rely on, 3 or 4 guys, but like our team, to do the majority of the scoring. It becomes a challenge to kind of match up with those guys every single game.
Okay, well, we're certainly going to follow it. Best of luck matching up against Newcastle North Stars this weekend and that push towards the playoffs, and we'll speak again soon. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Okay, thanks a lot.
One of the key import players in the Australian Ice Hockey League for the Gold Coast Blue Tongues, Matt Amado, with us here on Sports Overnight.